Welcome back to Fast Market, everyone. Kevin Hinks, Kevin Green, back for our cash tag segment. Now I'd like to bring in the co-founder of LikeFolio.com, Mr. Landon Swan, to the show. He's going to talk about our featured trade of the day, and that is Nvidia. Landon, it's finally here. We can finally talk about it. The question is, are they still, what inning are we in? Are they still growing at the same pace? How long can this last, Landon? I mean, it's amazing. CapEx remains elevated during this global sell-off. Jensen Huang never wavered, never backed down, never mentioned anything in terms of a slowdown. He's out there in the Middle East with President Trump, announcing deals. It's a pretty exciting time, but what does your data tell us about NVIDIA and their potential or actual dominance?
Sure. I'll tell you what, my opinion on what inning we're in is I think we're in maybe the top or the middle of the second inning. I think we're very early. When I see how fast AI has been advancing over the last 1 to 2 years, it's incredible. I mean, it reminds me of the dot-com era, 20 years ago, but at about 10x the pace. So it is advancing so quickly. And if you're not investing in it as a company, you're getting left behind. And so there's so much pressure to do these, this AI hyperscaling, as they call it. You have to invest in these AI chips. Meta, Alphabet, Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, they all got the memo. They're doing it. And you can see, I mean, the amount of spending going into, AI is just ramping up, and I think it's going to turn exponential soon. I think it's obviously gaining traction here, maybe exponential already. It's not linear anymore. So I think we're very early, even though it feels like we're late, because AI can't do all the things that it will do, and it's going to be doing some amazing things. And so when I look at NVIDIA in particular, I mean, they, obviously they're the leader. They've done fantastic. Their revenue last quarter was up 78%. Their data centers, I think, were plus 93%. Gaming, which, if you don't remember, NVIDIA was at first they were a graphics card company for gaming, and I always swore by the GeForce cards; those were amazing. Their gaming division was down about 11% year over year. That's not a big concern, but their original equipment manufacturing plus 40%, autonomous driving and robots plus 103%. That one's going to continue to grow very quickly. So we used to talk about this company, and we used to frame it as, well, they've got bets on gaming, they've got bets on cryptocurrency, and they've got bets on AI. And now you're like, yeah, okay, gaming, whatever, cryptocurrency, whatever, AI is it. And so that bet is paying off, and it's going to continue to pay off. I mean, these chips are $30,000 to $40,000 each, and they just can't keep up with demand. I mean, it is incredible how much people need these. And so, all of the advancement that we're seeing, I'd say that we're still very early. LikeFolio has been bullish on this company for a long time. We've put out 5 separate bullish calls on it from April of 2020 over, up until the last month when it dipped below $100. And so, you can see here how NVIDIA is leading the pack. I mean, this is not a monopoly, but they're definitely the dominant player with over half of the interest compared to Intel and AMD. But those are also, those are up and coming companies, which is weird to say about Intel and AMD. But in this space, they are. They're trying to take bites out of NVIDIA. But I think that the pie is going to grow so quickly and become so large that AMD can be a huge winner in this space. Intel can be a huge winner in this space. NVIDIA is going to be a huge winner in this space. And so, obviously, very bullish long term on this one. I mean, some of the stuff that they've done recently, where they took the ability to train robots with humanoid interactions, and they took that from 3 months to 36 hours with their new processes. And so that kind of stuff, it's not going to be long before that 36-hour process becomes a 3-minute process and becomes a real-time process. And that's going to happen through their products. And so that's why I say, we're super early in this. And, I would still be willing to invest in NVIDIA. I liked it more. We put out a note to our clients, if it dips below 100, grab some. I think it got down to 88 for maybe a day. And everybody jumped on that with all the tariff scare. But it's bounced back up to 135. So it's not as attractive as it was. But, it's still a very attractive buy long term. Short term, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of expectations going into this one, a lot of tariff concerns. How are they going to, downgrade and export their products? How much are they ramping up production in the U.S.? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But long term, you're not going to lose with this company. I mean, this is the pie is growing so quickly, and they've got over half of it.
Landon, you bring up a couple of really key points here. One, it's not only just artificial intelligence. Nvidia seems to hit the waves at the right time for whatever is really popular. You talk about gaming, that's what they were kind of known for. And then crypto, they just happen to have a fact that their graphics chips were so good that you could utilize them for mining at home during COVID-19 and things of that nature. So they're just hitting the right strides. And you have to ask yourself, what's next for them after artificial intelligence, right? Is it quantum computing or what have you? That being said, a lot of great things being talked about. Landon, what's the biggest risk for this company going into this earnings announcement?
I think just expectations. I think that's the key. Is you've got you can hear me talking. I'm not alone in the way that I think about this company and how well they can perform over the next 5 to 10 years. And so if expectations are that high across the board, then any kind of dent in that armor is going to really send investors to the sell button. And so that's what we have to look out for. We have to look at how's the competition catching up, which you can see here. Nvidia's kind of hanging in there. AMD's making a nice little run at them. I don't think this is this should be the focus for investors, because the pie is growing so quickly. They can all win, even at negative 3%. If the pie is growing more and more and more, if they hold on to half, it doesn't matter. Even if they go from 52% to 49% to 45%, the pie will double and triple and quadruple during that time. So the net is much, much larger anyway. So I'm not too concerned about that. Obviously, if you're an NVIDIA investor, you want to see them growing and no one else touching them. That's not the case. AMD is coming along. So they don't have that super monopoly position that you might want. But I think that, to answer your question, I think the threat is just high expectations, and can they continue to match those? I don't see a period in the next year or two where the demand for their products is going to slow. I just can't see it because of how incredible the technology that they empower is. The fact that their chips are getting better and faster, the technology is getting better and faster, there's going to be a demand. And just like I said, these large companies know that if they don't invest heavily into these chips and this technology, they will lose. It's not a maybe. It's not just like hey, let's try this and see if we can gain an advantage. It's like, no, this is table stakes now. You have to have this. And I think that with the mega corporations understanding that, they're all big buyers, and then any startup that wants to come along has to do this as well. This is just, they're going to have near infinite demand for this product moving forward, especially as robotics and autonomous driving become more and more reality. And then, like you said, quantum computing is just around the corner as well. So it's like, I think that AI is going to drive it all, but hey, you know what? I used to think gaming was going to drive it all for Nvidia. So what's next for them? Maybe it is quantum computing. Long term, it's a home run to me. Long term, but short term expectations are the scary elements of this earnings report.
Yeah, Landon. Think about it. AMD keeps saying they're going to compete, and then Nvidia just keeps pulling away. And by the way, can you imagine being in Santa Clara, California, working for Nvidia, and you go out to a restaurant and someone says, "Oh yeah, I work for Nvidia." "Oh, are you in AI?" "No, I'm in gaming." Down 11%. "No, I'm in gaming. I'm not in the cool part of town." I mean, can you imagine? Gaming was the coolest thing ever, and now it's the ugly sister of the unbelievable GPUs that Nvidia has. So interesting story. Landon, thanks for coming on as always, sharing the LikeFolio data with us here at Fast Market. Have a great day. Let's all watch and see what happens, because I think it's going to not only affect Nvidia, it's going to affect a bunch of other names as well. Thanks, Landon.
Absolutely. I can't wait. Thank you.
See ya. All right, Kev, you have a trade for us in